and we got to quit watching the total conditioning of the news media. I can't even stand to watch the news media at all. I mean, I can stand about 10 minutes of it, and then I'm screaming at it because their deception is so obvious to me. I can't understand how the American people can't see it. I mean, it's like. Well, I think it was Frisk or First or whoever it is, that senator got up there and he says, "Well, in principle, I'm against amnesty. In principle, I believe in Jesus Christ. In principle." Now, what is that? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Double talk.
Well,
that's all they do.
And you hit the nail on the head, Leon. The terrorists are calling us the terrorists. I mean, this is how it works. I mean, when you look at the mainstream media, the most important story here in the local Denver metro area is Dwayne Carswell and his car accident. I mean, it's like, wait a minute here. We've got a grand jury that is ready to vacate. They've indicted one of the two cast of characters. And for my money, I would have made Rove the target. Grove would have been the one that would have been indicted. Both of them should have been indicted.
That's right.
Rove, I mean, this is the kind of game they play.
Yeah, they do. What is... I was looking in the Denver Post this morning. The pictures of Myers there waving goodbye, and I thought to myself, "Gee, I'd like to see you and all of the rest of your cabal getting in the car waving goodbye. We'll see you later. I don't even want you in my government." I mean, but what was she doing? Diversionary tactic to get the focus off of what? What's going on with Rove?
Yeah, probably so. I mean, there's always, and this is why.
Now, whenever they come up with something, I think, wait a minute. Whenever they get real frothing at the mouth about something, I go, wait a minute, that's not the issue. Where's the issue? Look over here. It's like, where's the man behind the curtain? Sort of thing. And am I on target?
See,
you're absolutely right. And there's a word for that. They're trained in it. It's called the Hegelian dialectic.
Right.
And they're trained in this in Skull and Bones. This is one of the techniques to train future leaders.
And they must train them that way in that fraternity at Yale.
Absolutely. They train you in chaos. They also train you. One of the things that people really need to know is that the insignia for Skull and Bones is the exact same insignia of the Secret Service of the Nazi government of Adolf Hitler.
Right. They had it. All the SS troopers had it on their Class A uniform cap.
That's right.
And they were in bed with the Muslim Brotherhood. The same members, the next generation of the Muslim Brotherhood is the generation that ran P-TECH, that brought us 9/11, that is in cahoots with this cabal, that has crystallized and become so incredibly wealthy by looting worldwide that they cannot be stopped. And that's what we have to look at now.
So we have all these secret societies hiding behind closed doors, and they're telling us, we're just playing bridge or tiddlywinks or something, while they're planning all of this looting and scamming and murder and pedophilia and whatever else they're doing.
Our democracy has been systematically deconstructed. They have perpetrated the vilest of crimes against children. The case that we're following here in California is the one in which it is reputed that George Bush himself participated, and reputedly the reason for that was a demonstration of power, that there were to be no more law enforcement at any level stopping them.
What's the case in California? What's that one?
Well, we're going to talk about that. Are you going to be able to hold over, Indira, to the next hour? We're going to talk about that.
I'll get off and listen.
Okay, Leon, thanks for your call.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. And, Indira, we're going to take our news break. We've got the news break coming up. We'll take that, and you'll stay over with me. I also want to talk a little bit, too, about, if people will remember, back during the re-election campaign of W, there were indications that Dick Cheney was going to be indicted in France. Where did that go? And we're going to find out from Indira what that was all about as well, coming back from the news break.
Okay.
Okay? And we also have open lines today, so if you have any comments or questions, give us a call, 877-424-4111, 877-424-4111. That is, of course, a national toll-free number if you're calling from outside the Denver metro calling area. If you're calling from inside the Denver metro, lines are open. You can reach us toll-free if you're calling from outside the Denver metro calling area. Our number is 877-424-4111, 877-424-4111. Inside the Denver metro calling area, 303-423-1230. That's 303-423-0188. Now, today, what we're doing is I'm interviewing Indira Singh. She has been a guest on my program before. As you well know, she has testified before a lot of committees and hearings on the 9/11 business. And she made her entree into this movement, the 9/11 Truth Movement, based upon something job related that she discovered, this company P-Tech. Indira, welcome back to the program. 9/11 has also touched you in a very personal way.
Yes, it has.
You lived not far from the Trade Center.
That's correct. I lived and worked within line of sight of the World Trade Center and responded as a volunteer EMT that morning. I was going to work, had a suit on, and changed clothes and, went down there. And was injured in a number of ways over the next couple of days. And it's something that I've learned to put behind me, because in order to focus on this, I cannot focus on the personal devastation. I will tell you, however, that terror, when we pull back and we talk about the globalization and the economy of terror, I can speak firsthand about what it does to a human being, to someone who's relatively got their wits about them, well educated, and has a good heart.
Mm-hmm.
Having gone through that process, I'm here to tell you that this needs to be stopped at all costs, because once you are touched by a terrorist event, it changes you in a fundamental way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's where people need to really, too many people, I think, don't contemplate the long-range implications of these massive trends in our society. I mean, 9/11 has changed forever, I think, the face of a lot of things in this country. And, of course, it was the manufacturing of terror and fear on the part of the federal government that they got Congress to literally just roll over and shred the Constitution.
That's correct. I would like to say something that connects with what your previous caller had brought up, and put this in context, which I promised you I would do. And Leon, I believe your caller, mentioned Hastert, and referred to my mentioning of Republican House Speaker Dennis Hastert. And really what was revealed about him is that he's an elected official with bin Laden connected. He's connected with bin Laden connected Turkish nationals. And that goes right back to Yasin Qadi and P-Tech.
Yeah.
And they claimed he had him on his payroll and sent bribes and illicit campaign contributions to him to pull a House resolution on Armenian genocide. Now, genocide is another tool of the terror economy.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the interesting things that I found with all of these people, the Richard Pearls, the Elliot Abrams, the Bill Crystals, the Wolfowitz, the Michael Ledines, all these names, James Woolsey, the Dick Cheneys, the Donald Rumsfelds, and all of these names that come up and are, involved with such scams and scandals that we can't get them for. The interesting thing about them is that they are all members of something called the American Enterprise Institute, and the American Enterprise Institute is responsible, is a very big player in something that was reconvened last year, called the Committee on the Present Danger. I bet you most Americans do not know that the Committee on the Present Danger was convened only twice in our nation's history. One, to pull the McCarthy terrors on this nation, and the other one in 1976. So it was in 1915, 1976, when the Church Committee, resoundingly tried to stop the rogue operations of the CIA, or they saw that. So the next time that they were reconvened was right after 9/11, with the same cast, the same bloodline, bloodline. And I think that what we're looking at is a 1-2-3 strike in a 50-year period of time, where each time we are ushered deeper into this age of terror.
Mm-hmm. Third one's the charm, as they say, right?
That's it. And what are we going to do now? When I found out that Ledine holds the Freedom Chair with the Committee on the Present Danger, and Jack Kemp and DeLay and all of these guys are on it, the whole Iran-Contra core group of ghouls, as I put it, are on it, then I realized that, you don't, your other speaker the other day, Jim Rothstein, was quite correct when he said, when it goes up to the top, you're only going to come into maybe 40, 50, he says. I come across 200 people, but that's where they hang out.
But it's a small group of people that are really running the show, the puppeteers.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly.
Let's go to phones. Let's go to Dan in Longmont. Good afternoon, Dan. You're on the air.
Yes, this is Dan in Longmont,
Uh-huh.
and I'd like to say I appreciate your show today, and I struck a chord with me when I was listening to Miss Singh talk about HCA.
Okay.
I worked for HCA from 86 to 97, and as a direct report for one of their VPs.
Mm-hmm.
And as such, I was kind of on the front lines of a lot of the things she was talking about. It didn't occur to me to years later what happened. They merged with Columbia Healthcare, which was run by Richard Scott, a lawyer with no experience in healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Frist, who was the CEO, sold all of his stock there, became an advisor for Richard Scott, to the best of my knowledge. I mean, I don't know his exact position. Richard Scott ran that company into the ground. It was investigated by the FBI. They raided our hospitals. The stock went to nothing. So he got out before the stock went down. Richard Scott was removed later on by the board of directors.
Uh-huh.
Thomas Frist went back in.
Uh-huh.
CEO, the stock went up.
Yeah.
He is there as the CEO now. Richard Scott went on to Florida to run some company, which again got investigated by the FBI. And I was there. I was a recipient of some internal communications from one of their field agents who was in charge of acquisitions. I'm not going to mention any names, of course.
That's fine.
What I read there chilled me to the bone. The tactics these people used, basically blackmailing physicians to take over their practices.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, that was all laid out in the FBI charges and everything. But, I had to leave in 97. I was so disillusioned.
Yeah.
I just couldn't stay anymore. But it didn't strike me till later on, but I have to say that, these people did this with advanced knowledge. They knew what was going on, and they made a fortune out of it.
Yeah, they did. And see, Dan, what happens here? And, in my deep research, in the years I've been doing the deep research, I see, like Indira talks about, there are patterns here. They recur. And they use the same tactics, the way that they eluded the S&Ls, the way that they are taking down the financial institutions, is very, very, what we're seeing now with the corporate raids, okay? You have the S&Ls in the 80s, and you have corporate raids in the 90s, and of course, we're still seeing the fallout come out of that stuff. But again, the same group of characters that keep popping up in the rogue gallery are the same ones. They're just recycled through, on and on and on. And as a result of this, and I tell you, I don't think anybody, I know that the only one that ever came close to really trying to tag a monetary or a dollar amount to this scam was Pete Bruton several years ago when he wrote the CIA, George Bush, and the conspiracy of something. I can't remember the exact title of the book. But Bruton had completely gone inside and literally, threw up on the boards these links, these financial links, and how all these same guys circulated around and continued to just take and loot the money, bogus loans, all kinds of things. Clinton's the same way. They were all doing this. And I'll tell you another good book that you should read is a book by Terry Reid called Compromised, which goes very much in depth into the inner machinations and the inner workings of the Iran-Contra affair. And again, I am appalled at the people of this country, holding guys like Oliver North up as a hero. There is in my mind, there is never any justification to ever, ever, ever get involved in human experimentation or experimenting on unwilling participants in their heinous experiments. There is no justification to flood the streets and corrupt our children with cocaine and heroin and all that stuff. And, Gary Webb, Dark Alliance, Gary Webb, who recently supposedly committed suicide, blew the whistle on all of this, and we still see business as usual.
Yeah. Well, he didn't commit suicide, and that's been confirmed by a number of people, including DEA agents, and with a mob head, and, everyone knows it, and but of course they're playing it for whatever.